seems to be stuck. But then, something seems to click. He deploys the first stone. And then another. Eighth and final stage. Success. 8 individual stages of one complex puzzle completed. That was remarkable. I've never ever seen anything like it. All of the bird behaviour that I've seen, nothing matches that. I can hardly believe it. I'm still just running that sequence through my mind. It happened really quickly. But the immediate question is, of course, how on earth did that crow do that?
Okay. Interesting? So now my question. What did you observe? What was one thing? Yeah.
So I think, so looking at the first video, the lady is probably showing the parrot. The audience is really enjoying it.
Okay.
But what's happening is that the parrot is only bothered about the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the
Each
second
and
one,
everybody,
so,
everybody.
the human mind is presenting how well the crow went to get it, but for the crow, I got the food. That's it.
Yeah. So the point over here, yes, you very, very nicely pointed that out. But you know what exactly in the discussion which we were having in the previous slide, what exactly, you know, are we hinting at? You just almost, you know, hit the bullseye.
Needs.
Huh?
Needs.
It's
This for the needs.
Needs. Well, the point which I was wanting to emphasize on was that there is sophistication in the other species as well. Just like the parrot speaking, singing the happy birthday song. For us, it is something which is unimaginable. You know, we cannot comprehend something like that. And the crow, those 8 complex stages, 007 is called, 007 crow. But finally at the end, as he pointed out, that using all of the whatever sophistication the species, the parrot and the crow had, using it for what? Eating. For eating. So the point over here is that we, compared to other species, which means our own human species, we may have, say for example, I may have a better talent of procuring my food as compared to someone who is homeless. So I may be more talented to procure my food as against someone else who is less talented than me. But then what makes me then? I just become a more talented of just a person looking for food. So which means that if animals, they are called animals because they are engaged in eating, sleeping, mating and defending, and if we do these 4 activities only with sophistication, then we just become sophisticated animals. Might be harsh. Is it not? Yeah. We do it in a great amount of sophistication. But the activity remains the same. The motivation, you're pointing at that, the motivation for the parrot is least bothered about the TED talk. The crow is least bothered about, a BBC documentary is being made on me. They are all worried about what? The food. So my dear friends, in our life, using all the sophistication, if we are simply again worried about the basic necessities, then we are not using our entire potential. We are underusing our potential rather. That is what. Anyone else want to share something in regards to the videos or the points which we are discussing? Is it making sense? You are all with me still? Yeah? So, when we are talking of human beings against animal, yes, as you all pointed out, a human being has not just intelligence but higher intelligence, not just discrimination, you had pointed out, but higher discrimination, beyond eating, sleeping, mating and defending, and can inquire into something very important, cause of suffering and destination of life. The SQ, the spiritual quotient. Why am I suffering? I don't want suffering. When I want happiness, why am I not happy? So, these are the questions which we human beings can not just question but also find answers. That is the potential which we have been gifted by default. We are born with that potential within us to inquire into the cause of suffering. You have a bird put in a cage. The bird doesn't have the facility to ask this question, why I have been imprisoned. You do the same to a human being. The first question the human being will ask, why did you imprison me? The entire legal system is meant for that, asking that question. Why have you imprisoned me? Which means going beyond, using all of these facilities. You see, the animals also have intelligence, discrimination and all that. It's not that the animals, they don't know how to discriminate. You know those sniffer dogs in the police department, they know how to discriminate between the body odor. They have, on a physical, biological level, they have quite, adept senses, well-equipped senses. But we are supposed to go beyond higher discrimination, intelligence and all that stuff. And therefore, as I said, if one does not explore this potential, then one is considered simply polished, sophisticated, two-legged animal. Sometimes man becomes worse than an animal. In fact, if you look into the ecology of this planet, we are the species who are destroying the ecology of this planet, in a massive way. No other species. We are the species who are destroying the ecology. So therefore, we have to learn a lot as far as what is our real personality. So when we are talking of personality, it can be divided into two, the physical and the metaphysical. So herein, physical refers to the gross body, and obviously metaphysical will refer to the subtle body. Now you must be wondering, what is this gross body and subtle body? What can you infer? What do you mean by subtle body? Within means what? What we have, we have kidneys, liver within.
Thoughts and ideas.
Huh?
Thoughts.
Yeah. Metaphysical refers to, just like the gross body has bodily features, the subtle body has thoughts. It's made up of thoughts, desires, attitudes and character. Now this is something which, yes, we want to improve upon. This is something which we discuss it also. And so many of those messages, thought-provoking messages which are shared in WhatsApp, the moral of this message is that how to have a better attitude towards life, determination. What to speak of character? Now, in relationships, especially in families, when you have, say, spouses or siblings together, or parents and children, in relationships there is a tug of war in relationships. Mostly it is because of the subtle body. It's not because of the gross body. divorce is taking place? Most of the divorce is taking place because of character, behavior. Not because, my spouse has put on so much weight, therefore I'll divorce. I don't think those are the number one reasons for divorce, that, my spouse is no more that good looking, what that spouse used to be when we got married, therefore I'll divorce. The main reasons which is happening in any relationship, the problem is because of the behavior and character. So therefore, herein we come to this particular topic, going beyond the anatomy of our life. Now when we are talking of the anatomy, it sounds quite technical. Huh? But yes, when we are dealing with personalities nowadays in this world, we don't realize that many times we just deal with the anatomy. Again, our discussions, our thought process simply just goes to that. As soon as we see someone who is well disposed, we become attracted. Love at first sight, what is all that? Again, anatomy. And then divorce at first sight. That has to do with the metaphysical now, go beyond the anatomy. Because if there is love at first sight and divorce at first fight, then there is so much of thing going on between the gross and the subtle body. So here is this Dr. Harry Monson from America. He's a professor of anatomy. And he has, I guess we were discussing about this in our previous session also, but here we have the slide and this person, you can see in this image. So what this gentleman has done, that he has analyzed our human body, which is according to science made up of these chemicals. So you have, calcium 5 pounds, phosphate 1.5 pounds, potassium, sulfur, all of that. Now, are we just that? If say for example, if Sushant, in my introduction, he would have said that. So today we have a speaker, who is calcium 5 pounds, So let's welcome calcium, phosphate, phosphorus, and all that. How would you feel, your introduction like that? They were just bunch of chemicals, So how are you, potassium? How are you, iodine and all that? So herein, this professor, what he did was that he went to the market and got these chemicals in these proportions. So, and came with a market value of what our human body chemically is worth in the market. How much are we chemically worth in the market? So herein, I have, you can convert it into pounds, because I had made in India, so I have in rupees. You know how much it comes to? Just over a pound, I guess. Just over a pound. Yeah. So if you take the market value of the chemicals which our body is made up of, it comes to just over a pound. Is that our worth? Are we just, are we just that? Or are we beyond? So yes, what I'm saying is that don't just stick to the scientific explanation of our personality, because the scientific explanation of our personality is the chemicals which we are made up of. How many times have you ever focused on all those chemicals which are there within you? How many times have you discussed about those chemicals, and how many times have you discussed about the actual personality which is there, under those chemicals? And that is what I'm, trying to make you understand. So, my dear friends, please try to understand that even if we may be physically challenged, and I'm going to show you this person has become so famous, he is physically challenged. But the kind of determination and motivation this person has, which means his physical body is something which nobody would ever imagine, or have a nightmare to have a body like that. But then this person has gone beyond the anatomy and has become a personality who is motivating millions. And you must have read about this person online. So this Nick, man with no arms and legs. And the topic which we are on right now, going beyond the anatomy of our life, this person has actually showed how to go beyond the anatomy. Can you imagine someone born without arms, absolutely no arms, just the shoulders, no legs, there is nothing waist below, just a body like that? What would you do? How much we take for granted, our nicely intact body, how much we take it for granted, and still we keep standing at the complaint counter of our life that, having everything given, and we complain that, oh, wish I was more fairer, wish, I was more wealthy, wish I was more slimmer, wish I had more hair on my head, something like that. The list goes on and on and on. So let us find out, this Nick, what he has to give to all of us as far as going beyond the anatomy. Is it loud enough?
I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have a little chicken drumstick here. I wasn't ready! It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. It's crazy, I can't feel my hands. I love life. So many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You go through your storms in life and you don't know how long the storm's going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours. Patient, beautiful. I tell you, it's the hardest thing. But I realize that I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand, but when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. I don't need hands to hold her heart. You know, it is scary to know how many girls have eating disorders. It is scary to know how many people are just angry at life because of their situation at home and anger at others. It's scary to know how many people actually feel like they're worth nothing. Every single girl right here, right now, I want you to know that you are gorgeous just the way you are. And you boys, you're the man. On this DVD, I share my experiences in life of how I've overcome challenges and seen a new, fresh perspective in life. To be thankful, to dream big, and to never give up. I speak to children, youth, and adults about key issues and principles that I've applied in my life that has given me the strength to conquer all that comes before me.
Very interesting, I like this. No arms, no legs, no worries. And many times we find people with arms and legs intact and their worries are also intact. And in fact, misusing their arms and legs, getting themselves into a worrisome life. And the problem is, because we seldom focus on what we are gifted with. And we keep focusing on what we do not have. And in fact, sometimes even if we have that, we'll be more miserable, we don't realize that. And focusing on what the other persons have. And especially those things which I do not have, which I crave for the other person, and especially the person is my neighbor, my colleague, the same department, the same work profession. So, to be grateful, this word itself, people are seldom using this word. To be grateful for what we have been gifted with. You must have read about, this little girl when she was asked to write about the 7 wonders of the world. Yes, we have learnt in our school the 7 wonders of the world, but she wrote something else. She wrote, according to me, every day if I can see with my eyes, it's more wondrous than anything else. If I can hear properly with my ears, if I can taste with my tongue, if I can understand with my mind, if I have a body which is workable, the sun, the moon, the wind, the breeze, the water, this is all the wonders all around us. And we take it for granted. The earthquake recently which hit Nepal. When nothing happens to us, yes, of course, for a while we feel sympathy for them. But then we move on and we forget. And again we take life for granted. So therefore, I read very nice quote. This was some years ago. One of the churches here in this country, it read like this, I was complaining that I don't have the best brand shoes until I saw someone without feet. Did you get that? And therefore, in life, when people like them, like Nick, that he has, all the reason to just keep complaining all throughout his life. Just keep cursing God. Just keep blaming people around him. Situation. He has all the right to do, all the reasons and all the rights to do. But this person, if you Google him, if you listen to his, I have some of his talks. We don't have so much time. But if you listen to his, he's a person who is motivating. You just heard him a few minutes. He's a person who is motivating so many talented professionals. And that's what, herein, coming back to the point, going beyond anatomy. Just don't get depressed. In this country there is so much of depression. Just don't get carried away by focusing on what you do not have. The haves, the haves not. Have you heard of that? People are into that. So don't just, waste the valuable moments of your life in the haves and the haves not, in the ifs and the buts. We have to go beyond haves and haves not, and we have to go beyond ifs and buts. So redefining our personality. So container versus content is one term which I use. So you may have a golden container, but if this golden container is used as a spittoon, in previous times the kings used to have spittoons, but because he was a king, so his spittoon was made of gold. So from a distance, if you look at a golden spittoon, the container will look very attractive and impressive, but if you come close and look into the content, you don't want to imagine that. What is inside the spittoon? You all know what a spittoon is? Yeah? So, so here is the term which I use, container versus content. So yes, the physical body might be very impressive of someone, might rob the attention as I said in the beginning, but many times you go try look into the content of that person, oh my God. Please don't mention about the content. The containers are so beautiful, but then why the beautiful containers are depressed? Why the beautiful containers have so much envy? Why the beautiful containers are so jealous? Why there is so much of dissension and hatred? Because the content is something which is becoming obnoxious, filthy. And here is another example of the different colored balloons. So yes, there was a balloon seller and he sold one red color balloon to a child, and the kid he just released and the balloon went up in the sky, and he told to the other friends that buy only red colored balloon because only the red one goes up in the sky. What do you think? Which color balloon will go up? It's not the color, my dear friends. It's the helium inside. This example might be very ordinary, silly example, but the message is quite profound. That yes, we may have different colors, like balloons. We may have different color skin. But what will really make us go up is the content inside. So here comes another term which I use, condition versus consciousness. People are so much worried about their condition, physical condition. Again, the anatomy. But how many times are we worried about what is my consciousness? What am I thinking right now? What are my thoughts? What's my character? What are my desires? What are my ideals, principles, values, so on and so forth. So, wisdom in hot chocolate. And this is a very interesting anecdote which will inspire us to again go more deeper into, are you hungry looking at the hot chocolate? Don't worry, dinner is just ready for you, and I'll wind up. It's just the concluding points for tonight, and then we'll continue from wherever we left off. We'll continue tomorrow. So focus on wisdom from the hot chocolate. A group of graduates well established in their careers were talking at a reunion and decided to go visit their old university professor who was now retired. So they all decided that let's go for a reunion of the alumni and meet with our retired professor. So what happened over there? When they were all together, during their visit, the conversation turned into complaints about stress in their work and lives. Very common when friends meet, especially when old friends meet, the things which they first discuss about, the stress, the complaints, their work and lives. Now what the professor did, something interesting. Offering his students hot chocolate, the professor went into the kitchen and returned with a large pot of hot chocolate and an assortment of variety of cups, some made of porcelain glass, crystal. Some plain looking, some expensive, some exquisite looking, telling his students to help themselves to the hot chocolate. When they all had a cup of hot chocolate in hand, the professor said, notice that all the nice looking expensive cups were taken by you all, leaving behind the plain and the cheap ones. It's so natural. Our eyes always goes on what is expensive, what is attractive, what is good looking, and we value it more over anything else or anyone else. So like that over here. So it was like, a test, life test put by the professor. The professor was earlier testing them on other subjects, but here they were put on life test. So, while it is normal for you to want only the best for yourselves, the professor is saying this, that is the source of your problems and stress. We all want the best. Yes? One of the basic problem in economics, limited resources, unlimited desires. You see? So we want the best for ourselves, and everyone wants the best. And I want the best at the expense of someone's life. Dog eat, dog world, they say. Trying to win the rat race, somehow or the other, by hook or by crook. The cup that you are drinking from adds nothing to the quality of the hot chocolate. In most cases, it is just more expensive, and in some cases, even hides what we drink. Now, yes, we have to be introspective, and we have to go within our own lives that, yes, how many of those expensive cups did I slog hard for at the expense of losing what was there inside the cup? There is nothing wrong in having a good looking cup. We are not against good looking cups. If you think that, am I against good looking cups? Or am I propagating that you should all have ugly looking cups? No. We have to know how to prioritize. What to value, when to value, how much to value. That is what we are focusing on over here. Then, what all of you really wanted, Professor is saying, was hot chocolate, not the cup. But you consciously went for the best cups. And then you began eyeing on each other's cups. That was not enough. Well. My cup is not that good looking as compared to, हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, बगल की थाली में लड्डू बड़ा दिखता है. The grass looks greener on the other side. You know why? Because you haven't watered your grass. Therefore it looks greener on the other side. If we would have watered our own grass properly, our grass also would be much greener and luscious. So we began eyeing on each other's cups. Now consider this. Life is the hot chocolate. Your job, money and position in society are the cups. Now we are drawing the parallels. They are just tools to hold and contain life. The cup you have does not define nor change the quality of life you have. Just like looking at this cup. Looks horrible. But again, this horrible looking cup might have something very delicious in it. And sometimes the most good looking cup might have something filthy in it. Are you getting the point? Yeah? So yes, the point which I am trying to make over here is, in life, we have to mature enough, we have to become mature enough to detect what is the content in the other person's personality. And for that we have to first locate what is the content in my personality. Sorry. Yeah. So, sometimes by concentrating only on the cup, we fail to enjoy hot chocolate God has provided us. And therefore, you see, there is no one who is absolutely imperfect, and there is no one who is absolutely perfect. So we have been made with perfections and imperfections. Therefore, in my seminars I say that I never lose in my life. I either win or I learn. I never lose in my life. I either win or I learn. So yes, if we see some imperfections, if we see some discrepancies which is beyond our control, it's not in our control, we have to understand that it has been there for us to learn some pertinent lessons in life. And therefore, again, having that maturity, and therefore, God makes the hot chocolate, man chooses the cups. And then what happens? In trying to grab on to the cups, we spend our entire life, in this competitive world, and trying to become so competitive, and thinking that, yes, if I get the best looking cups, then I am the most successful person, then I'll be the most happiest of all people in this world. And at the end of the day, we find out that yes, you have the best looking cup, but then you realize that there is nothing in that cup left. And in fact, even if there is something in that cup, you have nothing left within you to enjoy what is there in the cup. जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, जब दांत थे तो चने नहीं मिले, जब चने मिले तो दांत चले गए. समझे? हिंदी समझते हो थोड़ा? So therefore, the happiest people don't have the best of everything. Very commonly heard, they just make the best of everything that they have. And in conclusion, I'd like to say, live simply, love generously, care deeply, speak kindly, and enjoy your hot chocolate. I'll tell you, in life, simpler the life, the more happy and peaceful you will find yourself. The more complex you make your life, the more stressful you will feel yourself. In fact, people sometimes they feel that if my life is not complex enough, if there is no complexity so much, which I can be stressed out totally, then I'm not living. People think that, like some of my friends from my earlier part of my life, when they look at me, they say, you don't have a bank account? You don't have a house of your own? You don't have a job? You are a monk? And because they know me, from the earlier part of my life, they are in disbelief. Their one burning question is, how are you living then? How are you, feeling motivated? I said, well, what makes you motivated? The stress. Yeah, they admit, they say that the stress motivates me. I saw in India, there is this a water purifier of one particular brand. So one of the ways, a very nice marketing technique they used to sell their water purifier. What they did, the entire unit, the water purifying unit, they had a transparent plastic on it, which you can see through all the mechanism of how the water gets purified and all that. And the entire mechanism, I guess some of you must have seen that also. Is that Kent company. So they found out that when the customers, when they see that our water purifier has such complex mechanism to purify water, they will feel that yes, when the water will come out from the other side, साफ ही आ रहा होगा. इतना complex है ऊपर से. It is so complex over here. Definitely the water has to be purified. And they realized if the mechanism or the unit, if they had made it look very simple, just water passing from one pipe and coming out, how? This is very doubtful. How come, you are saying that this is 100% pure? But if the water is passing through, this UV, that RO system, and this and everything, and then, oh wow, this definitely. So they were exploiting this tendency which human beings are having, that nowadays, if something which is more complex in nature, it's something valuable. And something which is very simple, it doesn't have any worth of it. Yeah.
Mindset.
I was saying, and this is by all means a very broad generalization, but in a way, today's life, the life is a that, isn't it? People are kind of, there's always the need to do better. I guess, when this was not there, there was not, hundreds of years ago, there was nothing like that. All that drives this is that need to look better than the other, whether it be a phone, whether it be a car, whether it be a laptop. So in a way, haven't we all exploited our own selves? What are these marketing guys doing? They are making us buy this and you look good, buy that and you will feel good, eat this and you look good. So in a way, we've exploited our own self, isn't it? Man has done this to themselves. So one kind of feels yes, but it's tricky, isn't it? Because how do you get away? Because you're bombarded every day by this sort of need to be better. I'm not saying it's right; it's not right, but
yeah. See,
you're surrounded by
what you
time.
pointed out is what I've been speaking, all through since the beginning. Now my question is, you are saying that yes, we have tried, our level best. We are slogging hard to live better. My question is, how do you define that better life? Herein what we are trying to do is that we are changing the definition of that better life. You see, if better life, if somebody thinks that better life is to have the best gadgets or the branded clothes, or whatever, all these kind of things, materialistic things. If that is better life, then people who are having all of that, go and ask them that, now are they the happiest people? Like, I was having this discussion recently with one person in Bombay before I came here. And this person, he was quite, you can say, a little shameless to say that according to me, sex life, if you just have good sex life, then you are the happiest person. So I asked him this question. Well, you are from the city Bombay. There are so many prostitutes here. They should be the happiest in the city. If according to your logic, if sex life one has, then he is the happiest person, then they should be the happiest people. So we have to redefine. That's what I was trying to tell. We have to redefine what is happiness, what is peace, what is success. How do you define that success? How do you define that happiness? If having all of that at the end of the day, if the crime is increasing, the hatred is increasing, the envy is increasing, the terrorism is increasing, what good it was? Yeah.
Also, that's quite a common Buddhist view as well, that everything that we experience is all material possession, and all this material and material possession is all temporary. Even phones, you may have the best phone now, but in 8 months' time there's going to be a new phone, and your best phone is not going to be the best phone anymore. So what has given you happiness for 8 months is only temporary.
Yeah, in fact, after 8 months, if you cannot afford to buy the new model, you'll be more miserable. If I would have just waited, you know. And then sometimes same is with the spouses also. If I would have waited, you know, they say it's like, you know, the newer models are coming. Models, you know. Whether it is phone or whether it is some other model. It's always like that. Yes, you very rightly pointed out that because of the temporal nature, everything is so temporary. And people nowadays, you know, the entire society which we are living in, they have made everything having a shelf life. I don't know, there is one very nice documentary. It's, I think, a 20-minute video. You can Google it, The Story of Stuff. How many of you have seen Story of Stuff? It's a very amazing video. Maybe if we have time, I have it on my computer. I can show that. In that, this lady, she's from America, she has made a sequel of that also. Story of Stuff 2 now. In that, how she's mentioning the same exact thing, that, you know, how these gadgets are on purpose made in such a way that you have to have the next one coming up. Otherwise, you know, you can't function. So, you know, they are designed in such a way, and they work upon the human psyche in such a way that you keep craving for it. You know, it's a kind of obsession. You know, you get possessed. You are possessed by it, like that. You don't have possessions; they possess you. We are possessed. We think that I have possessions, you know, but we are possessed. We are possessed by them. So yes, very nicely pointed out. So therefore, tonight what I really wanted to just stir up within us was that trying to use our subtle body to think beyond the anatomy, to think about and redefine our personality. And yes, the wisdom from the hot chocolate is to go beyond the containers, the cups, and to look into the content of our life, the metaphysical, the attitudes, the behavior, the thought process, the character. Because, my dear friends, at the end of the day, this is only which is going to be nourishing us from within. This is only what is going to fulfill us from within. No matter, you know, how expensive life will live, at the end of the day, we need each other. Each other means we need each other's personalities. Personalities means we need each other's good behavior, good character, values, principles, ethics, and that is what it's like, you know, going the full circle again now, and everyone is just talking about that. So that is what tonight I wanted to share with all of you, leading meaningful lives, and tomorrow we'll be continuing on principles of real development. So once understanding, so day 2 we'll be continuing now. Tonight we discussed what? Personality, redefining our personality, going beyond the anatomy, and tomorrow we'll be discussing now on development, that what is that development which we are talking about of this personality. So I'll be honored to have you again tomorrow. In case you have any questions, you can ask right now, or we can break up for our dinner and we can share more stuff as you all have dinner. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So that was a nice interactive discussion. A lot of points came through. So one point I caught on was even if I have a bit more weight on, I'm definitely going to go for the food. So the body doesn't matter. So great. So thank you very much. We'll have food now, and you're free to ask any questions if you have. Personally, if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask them.
the best one.
Any suggestions in case you have for what we can say do for our sessions tomorrow and day after? You can also share anything you suggest that